The Braves led the Bombers to their first World Championship in 1923.
Strike three, a no-hitter, a perfect game for Don Larson.
Reggie Jackson hit his third home run of the game.
Hayes makes the catch. The Yankees win.
The Yankees are back on top. World champions for the 27th time.
Much like the 1956 World Series, the 1958 World Series is also a revenge matchup for the Yankees.
In 1957, it took a terrific pitcher, Lou Burdett, beat the Yankees in the World Series.
The Braves had won that series in 7 games, and the Yankees were determined to make amends for this.
The Yankees this year had Bob Turley as their big star.
Bob was probably one of the hardest throwers ever. There weren't radar guns, but they had different ways to measure speed. But he was phenomenal that year.
Phenomenal he was. Bullet Bob was a 21-game winner, posting an earned run average of 2.97 and an MLB best 750 winning percentage. While Turley was ultimately voted the Cy Young Award winner in 1958, Yankees ace Whitey Ford also put up major league leading numbers with 7 shutouts and a 2.01 ERA. At the plate, center fielder Mickey Mantle belted 42 homers and scored 127 runs, both of which led the American League. Elston Howard led the Bronx Bombers with a .314 batting average, as 35-year-old Hank Bauer paced the club with 22 doubles and 6 triples.
Milwaukee entered the series with a very high level of confidence. Some say it bordered on cockiness, and games 1 and 2 only added to their confidence.
Game 1, we have a terrific pitching matchup on the field. We have 2 Hall of Famers, Warren Spahn for the Braves, Whitey Ford for the Yankees. Spahn ends up pitching very well. It's a tight game, but Spahn and the Braves win in extra innings. They score the game-winning run in extra innings against Ryan Duran, who was essentially the Yankees' closer at the time.
That's a hit all the way, and Adcock scores the run that gives the Braves a 4-3 victory. But just as big a factor in the victory was the steady clutch pitching of Spahn.
Game 2 is a complete rout for the Braves. They're facing Bob Turley, who would win the Cy Young Award that season. Turley got hit very hard in the first inning. In fact, he was knocked out in the first inning.
Milwaukee hitters knocked out 2 Yankees pitchers during the first inning of the second game en route to a 13-5 drubbing of their New York rivals.
In the 13-5 triumph, it gives the Braves a big 2-0 lead in the series. It was Burdett's 4th consecutive victory over the Yankees. Milwaukee's 7-run explosion was the biggest first inning in series history.
So once again, much like they were down 2-0 against Brooklyn in 1956, the Yankees are down 2-0 to Milwaukee. Game 3, the Yankees facing another must-win situation. Hank Bauer, who was a great World Series player for them, hit a 2-run home run.
Then Bauer hammers a homer into the left field seat, scoring Slaughter ahead of him. It's Hank's 3rd in as many games, and the Bombers extend their lead to 4-0.
Casey Stengel started Don Larson, the hero of the 1956 World Series. In Game 3, Larson and reliever Ryan Duran combined for a shutout of the Braves.
In the Milwaukee ninth, Billy Bruton grounds into a double play, and the Yankees' 4-0 victory is secure. The touch Milwaukee series edged down to 2-1, and Hank Bauer shares the day's honors with Larson and Duran.
Waiting for the Yankees in Game 4 is Warren Spahn, who had pitched very well in the first game of the series. Well, Spahn is even better in the 4th game. In fact, he would call it the finest pitched game of his career.
Warren Spahn pitched a beautiful game in Game 4, a 2-hit shutout, and the Yankees had their backs to the wall.
After 2 Yankees are out in the 9th, Mantle's grounder goes to Logan, and Spahn has an impressive 3-0 2-hit victory. The Braves are only 1 game away from a 2nd consecutive World Championship. Spahn's 2-hitter is only the 11th one pitched in series history, and Hank Bauer's record 17-game hitting streak comes to an end on this sad day for the American League champion.
At this point, Milwaukee's starting pitcher Lou Burdett, who had beaten the Yankees 3 times the previous October, bragged that the Yankees couldn't even finish 5th if they were playing in the National League. And this was a big mistake on his part because it fired up the Yankees, who had their backs to the wall already.
We were down in that series. It looked like we were going to lose again, 57 and 58, but we had some players that did have that perseverance and certainly didn't give up. And that's what I liked about the Yankees. If we'd go into the late innings of any ball game and we were just a run or two behind, we'll say we'll get them in the 7th, 8th, and 9th.
And only once in the history of the World Series up till then had a team ever come back from 3 games to 1 down. That was the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1925 against the Washington Senators.
But in Game 5, Bob Turley, the eventual Cy Young Award winner that year, began his remarkable streak in this series.
Elston Howard, playing left field, a position he wasn't particularly accustomed to, made a spectacular catch with the sun in his eyes, a huge play that saved a game for the Yankees in that series.
Elston Howard makes a spectacular diving catch, and Bruton is doubled at first base.
Game 5 marks the start of the Bob Turley phase of the 1958 World Series.
He pitched a 5-hit shutout with 10 strikeouts, and the Yankees now had to go to Milwaukee and win the 2 games there to avoid having what happened the year before when they lost to the Braves in 7 games.
Bob Turley joins Walter Johnson as the only pitcher to twice fan 10 or more batters in a World Series game. So it's back to Milwaukee for the finish, with the Yankees now trailing in the series 3 games to 2.
In Game 6, we have another classic pitching matchup. It's a rematch from Game 1, Spahn for the Braves, Whitey Ford for the Yankees.
It was a real back-and-forth battle between the Yankees and the Braves that went into extra innings. In the top of the 10th inning, Yankees infielder Gil McDougall hit a solo home run.
This drive lands in the left field bleachers, and the home run is a stunning blow to the home fans.
The Yankees scored 2 runs in the 10th inning on a home run by Gil McDougall and RBI single by Moose Skowron. But they ran into problems in the bottom of the inning. Ryan Duran gave up a leadoff walk to Johnny Logan and then made the mistake of pitching out of a windup and allowing Logan to steal second base. After giving up singles to Hank Aaron and Joe Adcock, the Braves had the bases loaded with 2 out.
So Casey Stengel, in a move that surprised a lot of people, ends up going to the bullpen. This time he decides to go to Bob Turley, who had won the previous game.
And Turley faced Frank Torrey, first baseman, the older brother of Joe Torrey, and he got him out on a line drive to second base to Gil McDougall.
The Yankees win 4-3, and this series is all tied up 3 games to 3. Ryan Duran has won his first World Series game, a remarkable relief job in which he fanned 8 in 4 2/3 innings. Yogi Berra's 59th and 60th hits established a new World Series record.
In the final game, it was Don Larson against Lou Burdette. Larson had been the most valuable player in the '56 World Series, Burdette in the '57 World Series.
Don Larson starts for the Yankees but gets hit hard. He's knocked out in the 3rd inning. Once again, Casey Stengel goes to his bullpen, and once again, he goes to Bob Turley. This would mark his 3rd straight pitching appearance, 2 relief outings, 1 starting appearance in the last 3 games of the series.
The Yankees' bats came alive late in the game as Yogi Berra came in to score on an Elston Howard single, and Moose Skowron put the game away with a 3-run home run.
There it goes. Skowron smashes the ball deep into the left center bleachers for 3 runs and a 6-2 lead for the Yankees.
Bob Turley pitches 6 2/3 innings, ends up winning the game.
The Braves get 2 runners on in the 9th, but the game and the series is over when Mantle takes Shane Dean's fly. Turley finishes a superlative job to play a part in each of these 3 Yankee victories in a row. The 6-2 triumph brings the Yankees their 18th title.
We know about Yankee home run heroes like Babe Ruth and Reggie Jackson and Lou Gehrig, but you forget Hank Bauer, who hit 4 home runs in the 1958 World Series victory for the Yankees.
In addition to home runs, Bauer led the Yankees with 10 hits, 6 runs scored, 8 RBI, a .323 batting average, and an OPS of 1.032.
This series was marked by a stellar pitching performance by Bob Turley.
I had the pleasure of viewing the 1958 World Series, the broadcast of the series. And at that time, one of my all-time favorites was the Yankee pitcher, Bob Turley. I was truly impressed with Bob, not only as a pitcher, but as a person. But as a pitcher, he kept thinking. He was a guy who always analyzed everything.
So there was no doubt by the end of the series that Bob Turley was the hero for the Yankees, doing something that we wouldn't imagine doing with a starting pitcher in today's game. In the span of 3 games, 4 days, Turley pitches 3 times, wins a game, picks up 2 saves, all under excruciating pressure situations.
To become the most valuable player of the World Series championship for the Yankees in 1958.
Bob Turley had just a wonderful series. He was not only voted the Cy Young, but he got the Hickok Award, which meant you're the best athlete in all sports.
And he ended up pitching in the last 3 ball games, and it was an incredible feat.
And he did a great job for us. You know, he was a workhorse that series, and we all got rewarded.
For those who worked for the Yankees throughout the 50s and 60s, there was something about the '58 World Championship that made it more meaningful, more special than any of the others.
This series is interesting for a couple of reasons. It marks only the 2nd time in World Series history that a team has come back from a 3-1 deficit to win. Also, it marks the final World Championship for Casey Stengel. He won 7 World Championships with the Yankees. This would turn out to be the last one. But again, the Yankees had been through some struggles in the mid-50s. They had lost in '55 to Brooklyn, 7 games. They had lost in '57 to Milwaukee, 7 games. So to come back and win, to get a 7th world title, to win in '58, was something very important for Stengel.